Imagine you are standing at the edge of a cliff, not a cliff of stone and earth, but one you built yourself, brick by brick, excuse by excuse, over years of telling yourself that things couldn't be different. The drop beneath you isn't death, it's change. And somehow that feels even more terrifying. That feeling you just had reading those words, that tightening in your chest, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, because I believe that the single greatest prison in the history of human existence was never built by a government, was never enforced by a law, and was never constructed from steel. It was built quietly in the silence between your thoughts by a version of you that was just trying to stay safe. My name isn't important. What's important is that you're here. And if something in those first few seconds made you pause, made you feel seen, then I want you to stay because this video is going to go somewhere most people are afraid to follow. If you're new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button right now because what we build together in this community is something worth showing up for. Now let's begin. There is a man, let's call him Daniel. Daniel is 43 years old. He wakes up every single morning at 6:15, showers, pours his coffee, sits in the same chair, drives the same road, parks in the same spot, sits in the same cubicle under the same flickering fluorescent light, eats a turkey sandwich he didn't want, drives home, sits in the same chair again, watches television he doesn't care about, and goes to sleep, hoping, genuinely hoping, that tomorrow will somehow feel different. He does this Monday through Friday, 50 weeks a year, and has for nearly 2 decades. And here is the brutal, uncomfortable truth that Daniel has never once spoken aloud, not even to himself. He is not trapped. He is choosing. Every single morning, Daniel makes a choice. It just doesn't feel like one anymore. No green light from someone with more authority than you, no guarantee of success, no safety net, no promise that anyone will understand. You can just do things. And the reason that phrase is dangerous, the reason most people reject it almost immediately, is because accepting it destroys every excuse they have ever used to stand still. Think about the things you've wanted, not the things you said you wanted in polite conversation, not the things that sound responsible to want, the real ones, the ones you think about at 2 in the morning when the room is quiet and honest, the city you imagined living in, the business you sketched out on a napkin, the relationship you ended because the timing felt wrong even though the person felt right, the apology you never gave, the call you never made, the life you put on hold for the perfect moment that never arrived. None of those things required a miracle. None of them required circumstances to be perfect. They required a decision. And decisions are terrifying precisely because they are available. I want to tell you a story about fear, and I want to start it somewhere unexpected. When I was younger, I worked in a company filled with people who had been there for years, some of them for decades, and I would watch them, not cruelly, not with judgment, but with genuine, confused fascination, because so many of them were miserable, not quietly unhappy, not mildly discontented, miserable in the way that seeps into a person's posture, that settles into the corners of their eyes, that makes their laugh sound rehearsed. And I would wonder, with the naivety only youth can produce, why they didn't simply leave. Why didn't they try something else? Why did they accept a life that was consuming them? It took years before I understood, before I saw my own reflection in them, because it wasn't that they hadn't thought about leaving. It wasn't that they didn't know they were unhappy. It was that somewhere along the way they had made a deal with the future. They had said, I will be uncomfortable now in exchange for safety later. You don't. I need you to hear that. Whatever you have been accepting, whatever you have been tolerating, whatever story you have been telling yourself about why the good things are for other people, you do not deserve that story. You deserve to interrogate it. You deserve to hold it up to the light and ask it hard questions. Questions like, is this true or is this just familiar? Is this life mine, or did I inherit it by accident? Is this fear rational, or is it simply the echo of every time I was told to be realistic? Here is the thing about fear that nobody tells you in the polished, packaged way they should. Fear is not a sign that you're in danger. Fear is often a sign that you're at the exact edge of where growth begins. The cave you are afraid to enter contains the treasure you are looking for, every single time. The conversation you've been dreading, on the other side of it is relief. The business you've been too scared to start, on the other side of it is either success or the single greatest education of your life. You know what never changes? Stories about people who played it safe. You know what every story that has ever moved you, every film, every book, every conversation around a fire that went late into the night has at its center someone who decided to act in spite of everything working against them, someone who chose. That's the story worth telling. That's the story worth living. Now I want to speak to the person watching this who has been here before, who has watched videos like this, felt the fire, nodded along, and then gone back to the same life unchanged. I'm not judging you. I've been you. But I want to say something directly. The feeling you are feeling right now, this is not motivation. Motivation is temporary. What you are feeling right now, if you let it land, is recognition. You are recognizing something true about yourself that you already knew. And recognition, unlike motivation, doesn't fade when the video ends. It stays. It follows you into the quiet moments. It asks the same question over and over until you answer it. The question isn't whether you can. You know you can. The question is whether today is the day you decide to stop proving it. So here is what I want to leave you with. Not a strategy, not a framework, just this. Big things are broken into little things. The mountain is made of rocks. The journey is made of steps. And every single day, you are either adding one brick to the prison or one brick to the bridge. The direction isn't determined by how talented you are, how ready you feel, how many resources you have, or how perfectly the stars align. It's determined by the decision you make in the next moment, the small, private, powerful decision to move in the direction of the person you are supposed to become. The world does not need a better version of Daniel sitting in that same chair, wishing for a life he never reached for. The world needs you, awake, honest, moving, building, daring to believe that what you want is not foolish, not selfish, not beyond you. It's available. It has always been available. You just have to stop waiting for someone else to hand it to you. If this video reached something in you today, and I believe it did because you're still here, then let me ask one thing. Drop a comment below. Tell me, what is the one thing you've been putting off? What is the one move you've been too afraid to make? Write it down, right here, right now, in the comments. Because the moment you name a thing, it loses half its power over you. And share this with someone who needs it, someone sitting in their own version of that fluorescent lit cubicle, waiting for a permission slip that is never going to arrive. Be the one who reminds them they can just do things. We all can. Starting now, starting today. The world is waiting, and so is the version of you that already knows what to do.